Hey everyone, this is Angsty Lou, and for the first time in my Fire Emblem Heroes career, I'm gonna be going to the Vault of Heroes. The Vault of Heaven. So what does that mean? So if you end a given AR season at tier 27 or 28. Next season you start at tier 31, and that is it's basically end game for AETHER raids. I've been trying for weeks. I've been trying for the past few weeks to try to hit the Vault of Heaven, and I'm finally gonna get there. So I thought I'd just impart a few tips that helped me on the way to really achieving access to the Vault of Heaven. So the first thing I want to point out is my defensive lift loss here was only 38, and while it's true that offense is what a lot of folks really pay attention to in AETHER raids, for the most part these days, the old adage still holds true: defense wins championships. If we look at the defense results, the worst defeat we suffered was this minus 29 here, and then there was a minus 9 earlier in the week from Haska. And those were the only two lift losses I accrued. So what was my secret to putting together a good defense team? This most recent replay shows exactly what I'm going for. So this player, they're using kind of a crafty strategy here. They're using 3 heroes. They're using 3 mythic heroes here. So that's going to give a buff for attack, defense, and speed on their team. But it's not going to help their res, and you're going to see why that's a problem later. Hint, it has to do with this guy. Their main objective here is using Kyria and Sothis to make runs to the Aether Amphore, and I believe Sothis is used to beat Reinhardt, Petra, and Not. I'm not completely sure what Kyria is used here for. You can see that they're paired, so they've got ally support. But here's my goal with defense. So this is great for me that Sothis is here and baiting out Reinhardt. Because what that's going to do is that's going to put Reinhardt on the hook here. And as you can see, turn 1 ends. Reinhardt doesn't move because he's the extra player in. So what that's going to enable these different folks to do is all this. And turn 1, we already started applying a little bit of pressure here, forcing the rest of their team to move and bunch up here. Now this is a big problem for them. So turn 3, they're doing the right thing with the Bolt Tower, doing a lot of damage to folks here. None of them have Vantage, so there's not going to be a huge deficit. there's not going to be a huge disadvantage from these folks using the bolt tower. I don't have a bolt tower on my squad specifically for advantage strategies. Like if someone's using advantage strategy, I'm screwed to that end. So I don't particularly like the bolt tower. In this situation, it does kind of work. Reinhardt's still at full health. Bramamond, he's still hanging on. And most importantly, Hilda has even recovery. So the fact that she's still here means that even though we got hit by that, folks are still going to recover. As long as she's in the battle. That's the kill there. But that was a very key play from Kempf attacking here. Now, Kempf's not here to get kills. Kempf's here to either... Kempf's here to apply this counterattack dispelling or to lunge folks into traps. So now Bramamond is going to come up here, and honestly, since Kiria's attack is well beyond the 50-point threshold, it gives him just enough speed, 36 speed versus her 28 speed, to double, and that's going to be crucial here. And right now, you can see the four remaining folks here have them pinned down really hard. We've got an offense. We've got someone with ranged magic. We've got someone with ranged with melee. We've got someone else with magic, and then we've got a healer. And that's going to serve this team pretty well. At this point, it's pretty much GG, but they're hanging on. Now, to recap, that's what the team ideally is looking to do on defense. Now, I have Hilda here as my token harmonized hero to set off this duo's hindrance. I got absolutely destroyed earlier by a who was it? Was it you? No, it wasn't you. Wasn't you. I got absolutely destroyed earlier. I think it was you. Yes, it's this team. So I got absolutely destroyed earlier by this Lyn. And as you can see, before this, I had Clarine here with a Joyous Lantern. Joyous Lantern, of course, giving buffs to folks with the highest attack. Which on this squad is currently... Who is it? It's Bramamond. So he gets attack and defense buffs, which really helps synergize with the rest of his kit. Especially if you've got to attack, this guy. This Fallen Edelgard, who's the bane of, every player right now. And that really helped there. Now, the biggest problem here comes from this Linja, because Lyn's just going to attack there, use the duo skill, and, gets an infinite amount of moves. The worst part is they have a duo's indulgence. My duo's hindrance didn't trigger because I didn't have a duo or harmonized hero on the defense team. You can probably guess how the rest of this goes. that Fallen Edelgard was the only kill we got here, and Linja proceeds to decimate the rest of my team. Obviously. So you gotta like keep certain meta threats in mind when you're designing a team. We have several different ways to beat Fallen Edelgard here. We have Bram, who has a high enough speed to make the guaranteed follow-up if the penalty's active. We have, because his guaranteed follow-up attack counters out Fallen Edelgard's inherent Worry Fighter from her B skill. So he wins that clash. He procs Moonbow, even if Fallen Edelgard is transformed. And then, he rallies from there. Petra also has, beast effectiveness, attack speed form, blade session, so she, her attack is like magnified based on the number of folks who have moved, first of all, and second of all, the number of folks nearby. So she gets a lot of friends nearby. She kills Edelgard real easily. We've got Not with her Rim Foxy, and since that has an inherent Pathfinder, it means Petra, Bram, Hilda, and Triandra, and actually also Kempf, get an extra space of movement here, and that's pretty big. Imagine Not moves here, then the area of influence Petra gets is even more magnified. Hilda. Petra's area of influence isn't really affected if Not moves here. So a lot of it is we're trying to take over this this space here. I guess it is a B. I guess it's a B4 in terms of chess terminology. Correct me if I'm wrong about that in the comments. But the main idea here is not only to work with that general strategy I discussed earlier and to really clamp down, but also to modify it depending on the current meta threats. So we have 2 for Fallen Edelgard. For Freya, we have Hilda, we have Bram, we have Triandra. Bram is a really good anti-meta unit, and the fact that he also gives attack buffs on Dark Season is really nice. So we described the defensive team pretty extensively, and if you're also looking to get to Vault of Heaven, I'm hoping this gives some good pointers or some good tips you're probably looking to incorporate in your defenses. Make your team synergize, scout for meta threats, try to crush your opponent. Those are the 3 basic tips I can give. When it comes to Aether Raid teams, here's who I'm using for Light Season. This team isn't particularly useful in the current meta and could actually use kind of a reboot, but the way this works is basically this. You have Fiora with Goad Flyers, and then originally on this team you'd have Air and Peony also with Goad Flyers. Est would fly in, White Wing Spear gives her extra buffs from the Goad Flyers, and with her already high attack and Dead Blow, She attacks a whole lot of Staller teams. Staller teams aren't as plentiful in the current meta, but sometimes on occasion you'll see some folks who just have stacked wards on the back line, and this is what that team's primarily used to take care of. Of course, the biggest weakness to this squad is one, green units with extremely high defense. Now, that being said, like, Est can beat Surtur in certain situations. She has defense ploy, she has speed ploy, she has dead blow, she has armor effectiveness, and she has a high attack stat, a high-ish attack stat. In the current meta, we could be looking for an Est with an attack boon instead of a res boon. This res used to be more useful when ploys were more meta and when res checks were more meta. Nowadays, you see folks with a whole lot of mixed bulk, decent attack stat, and extremely low speed stat. You start to see teams that are more min-maxed, and so Est isn't as useful for that in the current meta. One other option is to give her a lot more, is to stack buffs from air, because she gives the res bonus. Switch to White Wing Spear from, well, no, you want the triangle attack with the White Wing Spear. You always want the triangle attack with the White Wing Spear. I was thinking, give her res instead, but you're missing a whole lot of damage if you do that. Because it essentially becomes a brave weapon without a speed debuff, which is huge. We also have Freya here for an attack buff. Her HP stat skyrockets with 4 mythics on the team. She gets 62 HP or something, so she doesn't have to worry about some panic rooms. Panic manners, not panic rooms. Fiora's also here to kind of deal with green units and maybe some slower reds. She's not really that good anymore, but she's mostly here to ally with Est and add some goads and drives. She can fight, but you don't really want her to. And there are a lot of better red options out there. So while this team is kind of out of date and I didn't use it a whole lot this season, I still keep them around just in case, a new unit gets released, who we need to account against, stacked wards and armors for. So that's that one. We also have a Gale Force team here. We got Gale Force, Sing, Gale Force, Dan, I guess General Dream Sing thing, kind of. And what this team is going to do is they're going to hit and dance and hit and run and hit and run and dance and then reposition. We've got 4 mythics here for boosts to Tibarn, and maybe Rayson. Rayson's just here to dance. Overall, once again, since we're in a meta where there aren't a whole bunch of well, actually it could be useful against certain armor builds, especially Tiborn. If you're like, this used to do pretty well against some starters. Like, he's minus speed, so obviously not all of them, or like highly merged ones. But what this would do is you hit, you run, your opponent chases, and then you beat them from there. One thing Freya here could do is probably like take care of where are they? Legendary limbs, because minus attack actually works pretty well for her with what we want her to do, and that's Gale Force. So she moves in, attacks twice, then gets danced, probably attacks another opponent as long as she doesn't one-shot. Gale Force procs, and then she retreats. It hasn't helped a whole lot this week, but it is worth investment. And, you know, there are other additions you can use to this team. I know a lot of folks have been using Raven. Raven's a great option, especially since he just has his Resplendent outfit out. So that's the basic idea behind that one. This is one of my favorite teams, and you see we only have 3 mythics here. We also have Versa, we have Leela, and we have Matthew. Now, Leela has a support with Matthew.
Matthew wanted me to visit his hometown, but wouldn't say why. She's as slippery as ever.
Yeah, right. So, Constant Dagger really helps a whole lot with her. She gets essentially Swift Sparrow when she attacks, and if she's within 2 spaces of her support partner, you know, the opponent can't counterattack. Of course, if it's like someone with Null Sea Disrupt, like Leon or anything like that, or Lion, or however his name is pronounced here, because Erica likes to change the pronunciation every so often. She goes in, she attacks, she switches places with Matthew. Matthew goes in, he's got Spy's Dagger. Her attack smoke debuffs, her ruse debuffs, and her constant dagger debuffs mean that he gets a whole bunch of bonuses here on his attack. Ditto with Aversa's Knight if anyone's adjacent to another foe and their HP is sufficiently low. Their bonuses turn into penalties as well. So then you get like even more attack for Matthew. And we have Glimmer on him, we have Advantage, and he's just there to kill. Pulse Smoke, Darting Stance makes him an ideal enemy phase. Now, we have Darting Stance on him because we want him to double for the most part. Altina is already going to double. She has Fierce Stance. And she doesn't have any chance of doubling with a speed stat that low. But the reason I'm talking about Altina as well is she faces something of a similar strategy. The difference between Matthew and Altina is Altina has Null Sea Disrupt and is basically used more for a tanking or baiting role. Matthew's role here is just to nuke folks. So there are a few different setups you can do with this team, which is what I really like with it. So Leela can rally Matthew, apply attack, defense, ruse on opponents. Matthew moves in, and then he does his stuff. We could have Leela come in, attack folks, switch places with Matthew. Matthew comes in, he does his stuff. In both of these situations, Matthew benefits from support bonuses from Leela. We've got 3 mythics, we've got res, we got speed, we got defense. It's a difficult call between dropping Freya or using Freya. In this instance, I'm going to be using like Aversa instead. Her defense stat of 73 is kind of buck wild right now. So she's more often than not going to be proccing panic on folks. And yeah, so that's the basic strategy with Matthew here. With Altina, you'll see that the team is fairly similar. The only difference is we have Freya here, who's pretty much only here for these buffs. And we have an Altina with 62 HP and bonuses to attack, speed, defense, and res. She's got Fierce Stance, so she almost always procs Twin Blades. Ragnar Londa, she's got built-in DC, pretty good. Nulsi Disrupt, attack res Oath. She's definitely more of a res tank, which is a different role than Matthew, who is very res poor. And then we've got Fierce Stance and Fierce Breath, which give her plus 10 attack on an attack or when the foe is attacking. Twin Blades gives her a big damage boost here. 40% of res comes to about 16 extra damage. And even if folks come in with like Slick Fighter, or folks come in with, a guard effect or anything of that sort, Altina is always going to proc Twin Blades on the counterattack. Nulsi Disrupt is also a pretty essential feature to her. What's going to happen is folks are going to come in, like your Veronicas, your healers, anyone like that. They come in, they attack. Altina's there. She takes the hits and does some pretty massive payback as a result. Overall, pretty good unit in general. I wish there was a unit. I wish I had sudden panic to put on I guess a tanky blue kind of flyer. Because having 2 folks who are red doesn't give you a whole lot of versatility. And then we have 2 greens, and our only defense against specific reds is Peony, which doesn't work out too well because if you think about folks like Reginto, that's why I call Ryoma, because he always just says Reginto or whatever. If he's gonna come in with his Bushido 2 and whatever, Legendary Ryoma is super good now. He's gonna really wipe the floor with Peony. If Peony attacks into him, he's just gonna wipe the floor with her. You could try using Mila, but there's only so much she can take, and she's more for kind of a mixed tank role, but ultimately we don't want her to take a lot of battle, especially with a speed stat that's so low. Guard helps, kind of, but we just don't want her to be our primary defensive option. This final team is kind of a go-to mixed tank option, and this was honestly the team I used the most this past week. So you've got your 4 mythics, you've got Air, you've got Dagger, you've got Mila, you've got Freya. I sat Peony for Air specifically, so that you get an extra res boost. You've got your defense boost here. Wait, nope. And then you've got your attack boost. So what does that mean? It means that you've got a very, very tanky Calic. He's got a Plegian Axe. He's got Sturdy Stance. He's got Raz Attack Defense. This is going to give him an extra plus 10 on enemy phase. For defense, he's already got an extra plus 10 from these res boosts. And what that means is he's going to be going into battle with 50 defense, 48 res, some like 78 HP, 32 speed, but that's okay. He's got QR. He's going to be, surviving. He's going to be dishing out damage. And he's got a decent enough attack stat. A lot of his attacks are going to come from the Plegian Axe. And any penalties accrued to defense. He has Air, who can inflict defense res with the Sky Myogi. We've got Camilla, who can do something similar with the Ouch Pouch. I guess one thing we could try to do is, well, she's got Sabotage Attack, which is really nice. Calic is, with a Plegian Axe, can really tank like so much damage. If you conceptualize so you conceptualize 78 HP with 50 defense and 48 res. He can realistically take on a whole lot of fighters, especially Fallen Edelgard. The fact that he has Reprisal, which boosts damage, flat by damage dealt to him, works really well with his high HP pool. At first glance, Mystic Boost seems like it'd be anti-synergistic, but Mystic Boost helps keep him alive in battles like those against Fallen Edelgard. She'll come in, attack, and then she gets attacked twice with a Plegian Axe, thanks to Quick Riposte. Since his speed stat is high enough. He doesn't have a great speed stat, but it's high enough. She comes in, she hits Bonfire. He loses a lot of HP, but then he hits Reprisal and does even more damage. So, Calic is probably my go-to tank here. Once we finish off this merge project of his, he'll be even more deadly. He also has a support partner in Mila, which is really good because you get Mila within a space of Calic. He gets +1 to all these other stats. We want her to be +1. We want her to be only 1 space away as opposed to 2, because otherwise Plegian Axe doesn't take effect. You don't get that extra attack debuff. You don't get the extra defense debuff to Fallen Nail Guard. Camilla is mostly here to defend against any magical damage. She's got a rather robust res stat. It goes up to 42 with these two. Great speed, great attack. Dual ranged helps her tank a lot of hits. And then when she's not tanking those hits, she can help out Kalik with close guard. She can help move folks out of trouble with drawback. She has survivability thanks to Soul. She's a good unit. I like Camilla a whole lot here. Oh yeah, and she has Warding Stance 2. Warding Stance 3 rather. It gives her +6 res when folks initiate combat. So we've got her for the res, and we've got Kalik for the defense and res. With his low speed, he's not gonna manage very well against a lot of mages. Camilla, she does really well against mages, but like can't tank anything else worth a shit. So these two are the prime candidates for tanking on my team. Might make Camilla a merge project. I don't know. I'm getting good mileage out of using her and Kalik. But I think Kalik's probably going to have the longer term potential thanks to his mixed bulk and more versatile role. So that's why I'm investing in him more in the current state of the game. So those are the folks I use to help get my team to tier 27. Hopefully there's something from this video that you could have taken that you can use to help with your team compositions. And just to recap, my main keys to success here are first, defense wins championships, get a good defense going, and then focus on offense. You want a team with good tanking capabilities, you want a team with good sniping capabilities, and you want to be sure to prepare against the meta. That's easier said than done, especially with these folks. Look at these season bonus folks. It's a little nuts. But yeah, hopefully this helps. Thanks a ton, and hope to see you soon. Later. Bye.